Good afternoon, and we are live. And I understand this is an unscheduled live. We don't typically do a live on Mondays. We meet every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. But this is important. This is important enough that we get together and we discuss what has happened and where we go from here. So let's dig into it. Let's dig into it. All right, here we go. This is what happened. Folks, this is not hyperbole. You know me, I am not a hyperbolic person. I am not cavalier with people's lives. Or your rights or your freedoms. I'm the guy that has been sitting here telling people be cautious about protesting. There are uh, things to be afraid of when protesting. If you could decide to go out and protest, the cameras out. You need to document everything. You need to, because this administration is looking for an excuse to declare martial law. Well, this administration, if you followed our show yesterday, you saw me talk about Judge Boasberg, his order, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 that this administration was trying to invoke, which would allow them to. One second, I've got to stop a comment here because we're going to address this problem right here. That would allow them to, they wouldn't have to declare martial law. They wouldn't have to declare a state of emergency. What happened is, just quick background. We had some gang members, some bad guys, some bad actors from Trindade, Aragua. I showed you, if you watched the show yesterday, I showed you Aragua, Venezuela. I showed you where they come from. Trindade, Aragua. I explained it means Aragua train. It's a city, a state in Venezuela. It just means Aragua train. Trindade, Aragua. That's what it means. They're a drug cartel. And what we had some cartel members picked up in immigration sweeps. The normal process for that is you get picked up, then you have a trial, you have a hearing, an immigration trial. And in that immigration trial, some rules apply. One is habeas corpus. If you don't know what a habeas corpus means, it's just a Latin term that means present the body. It is one of the fundamental cornerstones of freedom, period. Without habeas corpus, a government, and this has been done before, they didn't just invent habeas corpus because it was Tuesday and they were bored. The government could arrest you and just hold you forever, never deal with you, just leave you locked away in prison without habeas corpus. The other fundamental thing that was being circumvented here was due process. And due process, a lot of people talk about due process. It's really simple. Remember when you used to turn in your math homework and your teacher would give it back to you and say, show your work, so that they could see that you knew what you were doing, that you'd followed the rules. That's all due process is, folks. That's it. That's just forcing the government who is acting against you at that point, whether you're a criminal or whatever reason the government is acting against you. Due process is just making the government show their work. This administration tried to make both of those things go away using emergency legislation. It's called the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. I'm not going to rehash all of it. If you want to hear the whole thing about the Alien Enemies Act, go watch the last show from Sunday. But in short, in times of war or having been invaded by a government intent on waging war, it gives the administration, the executive branch, the power to arrest and detain people. The Trump administration was trying to invoke this power in peacetime. They were trying to not have to show their work, not provide due process to people that they arrested. Now, we're not arguing about ICE arrests. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about once you pick someone up, you just have to show your work. One, you have to present the body, and two, you have to show your work. You have to prove that this was a criminal. Why is that such a big deal? Well, folks, it's really simple. It is really, really simple. There are parts of this Constitution that if they vanished tomorrow, if they went away, you would lose freedoms. But the country would still exist. It would. I mean, think about it. Being forced to house troops in your home. If that was, the government can't force you to house troops in your home. If that disappeared, we'd still be a country. I mean, it would suck. You'd lose that freedom. It would suck. Second Amendment. If the Second Amendment went away. Now, there's a lot of people that believe, if the Second Amendment would go away, we're done as a country. We don't exist. That's not true. It's fundamentally not true. If you had all of your other rights and the Second Amendment went away, it would suck, but we'd still be a country. We could still exist under our rules of law. But you can't exist as a country if habeas corpus doesn't exist, due process doesn't exist, and our co-equal branches of government don't exist. Because this is what happened. The ACLU filed a suit on behalf of these people that were picked up, that the Trump administration declared that it was going to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport. The ACLU filed a motion, went before a district judge in Washington, D.C. That judge, Judge Boasberg, we talked about him again yesterday, his background, his history. Judge Boasberg issued at 6:45 p.m., he issued a verbal order. These times are important going forward, folks. At 6:45 p.m., he issued a verbal order on Saturday. And at 7:26 p.m., he finished writing up and filed his written order, barring the Trump administration from deporting these people without habeas corpus and due process. Now, this is where co-equal branches of government come into play. We know the Republicans in the legislature. We know we screwed up the last election. We know we took power away from the Democrats, and we know the Republicans have bent the knee. You know that continuing resolution everybody's so upset about? That was the second bill to come out of Congress in this entire administration. The second. That's it. Because they've done nothing the way the Constitution lays it out. They've done everything by executive order to date. Can you believe that, folks? That continuing resolution was only the second bill to come out of Congress. And if you're familiar with politics, you know that a new administration has a raft of bills that they run through Congress immediately. They talk about the first, 100 days and, everything that gets done and the number of bills they get through and the progress that they make. This was their second bill because they were intent on doing everything by executive order. And by executive order, they just declared that the Alien Enemies Act was now the way they're going to handle immigration, which is unlawful. It will not, that will not survive the courts because it is very specific. Its abuses are horrific. The ability it ends our country, folks. It ends our country. Because if you do not have to produce the body, if you do not have to go through due process and show your work, and you do not respect the co-equal branch of government of the judiciary, that means might makes right. That means that this administration and any administration going forward could simply declare, you need to go away. And they don't have to prove it. They don't have to show their work. That's it. That's the whole game, folks. That's everything. That is everything. We're no longer a nation if that is the case. And how we got here is this is what happened. After Judge Boasberg issued his order, a series of press releases came out of the White House where they just basically said, well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to follow that order. Then Tom Homan came out and said this. I actually have a video clip of it saying, I don't care what the judge says. We're going to do what we want to do. He went on Fox News and he said, no, those flights were already in the air and over international water. I don't have to obey this judge. That's it. That's it. That's the whole ball game. No more co-equal branches of government. Thank you, my friends. I'm glad to see our international audience here because I want to let you know I do have some good news for you. I do have some good news for you. This is Tom Homan on Fox News, and I want to thank Aaron Rupar. I try to find people, share people for this community, people that you should be following for good information. Aaron Rupar is one of them. He takes those segments and he cuts all the nonsense out of them, gets to the important section in a digestible, small amount of time that the average person can just listen to, and he posts it to social media. So if you're on Blue Sky, please follow Aaron Rupar. He is priceless. Him and Acine both do the same thing. They are priceless. Let you listen to Tom Homan and what got us here.
We made a promise to the American people. The President Trump has made a promise to American people. We're going to make this country safe again. I wake up every morning loving my job because I work for the greatest president in the history of my life, and we're going to make this country safe again. I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
Yeah. I just love seeing you going through these protesters just crunching on the apple as their liberal tears just flood the hallway. Tom Homan, thanks so much for joining the program.
You got it. Thanks.
Okay, first of all, this doesn't have shit to do with liberal tears. This is everybody. This is everybody. It does not matter. At this point, what they're doing is might makes right. Anyone can be arrested. They don't have to show their work, and you can disappear. And they're telling you what he just said. I don't care what the judges say. The ACLU informed the judge what was going on. Mark, I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. Magna Carta for the fun. I'm having a hard enough time getting everybody to understand the U.S. Constitution. We're not going to do the Magna Carta today, my friend. We aren't, even though our Constitution is based on it. So yeah, that brought us to where we are. You have the executive branch releasing press releases saying that they did not abide by the court's order. Then you have Tom Homan going on Fox News and saying, I don't care what the judge says, which left us in a situation where we weren't, and people were, they use this verbiage, constitutional crisis. No. A constitutional crisis is a fight over policy. It's a fight in which two branches are arguing over policy and not playing by the rules. That's fun. That's not what this is. To do this, there's no constitution. No constitution, there's no constitutional crisis, because this just ends the Constitution. There is no other section of the Constitution you could apply that still exists if this is allowed to stand. And as of this morning, that's where we were at. Lori Yates, thank you for being here. I can't imagine that even a quarter of the immigrants were in a gang. You don't know. Thank you for that point. You don't know. You don't even know if they were all immigrants. The government was not forced to show their work. That's what due process is. They could have all been from Toledo, Ohio, born and raised. You don't know and can't know if they do this. Fortunately, I have some good news. Potential good news. The judge called everybody in. As of a few hours ago, the judge called everyone in. The ACLU, well, let me stop there. They called everybody in. The government's attorneys said, we did not violate your order. No one, once you issued that order, we adhered to it. The ACLU, God love the ACLU. God, I disagree with some of the cases they argue. Some of the cases the ACLU argues would make your blood boil. But thank God they exist. The ACLU said, Judge, not good enough. We need from them, for them to produce to you in writing with official declarations that they did not break your order. And the government employees blinked. They did just that. As of this morning, the government has walked it back, tried to put the shit back in the horse, that no, we did not do what Tom Homan says we did. We did not do that. We adhered to your order. Basically, what they're saying is that was all bullshit. Just distraction, red meat for their base. We're going to, ooh, we're tough. Is basically all that was. We think, because this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We're those times that I told you, again, let me remind you, Saturday, 6:45 p.m., they were ordered to turn the planes around and not do this. 7:26, that order was issued in writing. If the people that were deported, as the government claims, No, the people they're referring to, this is what the government claims exactly, okay? That they're saying that the people that were deported, the people that they were referring to, were people that were deported prior to your order. The video footage that you see going around on social media, they're saying those people were deported prior to your deadline, prior to you issuing that order. So we did not do that. We did not trash the Constitution. We still recognize you as a co-equal branch. If that turns out not to be true, what now? That is where we're at. What now? And this is where I want to turn it into a roundtable. We're not going to do a full show today. We're not going to be here that long. It's just an important situation that everybody, all hands on deck, everybody needs to be aware of. Jed Reckenberg, thank you for being here. Nayib Bukele is a Nazi. These people were sent to gulags. America is on life support. Now, I want to clarify something before we go into this roundtable and our discussion. I'm not a hyperbolic person. You know me. I'm the person that's sitting here telling you economic protests are more effective. I'm not the person that's screaming, go to the streets. I'm not the person that's screaming, it was all stolen. That's not me. I am the person that says, I will not react to what I fear. I will react to what I know. And this situation changes everything. It changes everything. Jeremy, thank you for always being here, sir. I appreciate the support. This situation changes everything. And if this is your response, you are less than useless. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful, Eddie, but if this was the situation, that we're in, if that is your response and your focus, you are less than useless. The Democrats did nothing wrong here. And if you can't help but reflexively attack the Democrats in a situation where we need to be all hands on deck, this is not hyperbole. This is where the violence begins. It's not hyperbole. It's not fifis on social media. This is real. This is me telling you this very clear fact. I have told you doors are closed to us. Violence is not an option. Violent protest is not an option. I've told you impeachment is not an option because we don't have what we did in the last election. We don't have the votes to do it. It's not even worth discussing. You can't do it. The 25th Amendment is not an option because we don't have the people. The people within the cabinet are sycophants. There is no way you can feasibly pull off removing Trump via the 25th Amendment. And even if you did, Vance is worse. So I'm the guy that's not hyperbolic. I'm the guy that's not over the top, that tells you things like, be careful if you protest. Don't be violent if you protest. This opens new doors. This is new territory. Now, does that mean because this opens doors to new paths that we may have to entertain, does it mean we need to rush down those paths? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Right now, where we are, and what I've told everybody this morning is watch to see what the judiciary does. And so far, this administration has blinked. But that doesn't mean this is over. Because now we have to deal with the situation of what if they lied? What if they thought they were too cute by half? What if they actually did violate the judge's order, but just want to make the argument that, well, it was okay that we violated the judge's order. Folks, that changes everything going forward. That changes my position of where I'm saying, look, we've got elections coming up. So far, I'm not going to react to what I fear. There are a lot of people, you'll see them on social media. Oh, it's over, democracy's done, and this, that, and that. Well, you can't prove that. I'm going to operate as though we still have a democracy. As long as I get to go vote and those votes are counted, that's it. We have a democracy. But they're making it hard and they're cheating. And so, yes, that has happened our entire democracy and will happen in our democracy going forward. That is part of a democracy. Democracies aren't perfect. When you have a republic where you elect your representatives democratically, people will cheat. But that doesn't mean you don't have a democracy. It just means you have to be extra vigilant and work extra hard. This changes that. It does. It changes that. And before we get into the discussion back and forth, I want to just, very informative channel. I've learned a lot. Channels like this are my life support. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate you. I really do. Susan Sprout, thank you for the support. Thank you, JR Too Cool. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. So, I mean this, and I mean this sincerely. I am not cavalier with your safety, your harm, your lives, your freedom. I don't tell people, hey, it's time to get violent. No, I don't do that because it's not. That's not where we're at right now. That's not where we're at right now. And VV, I love your moxie. I do. I love your moxie. Maine Mutzel, what entity is going to enforce court orders if the administration doesn't comply? There you go. There you go. That's where we're going to start off the roundtable with that right there. But let me be the first. Let me say this. I am not cavalier with people's lives. I'm not. If I say something, if I say, do this, like I say, participate, close your wallet. You're hurting the billionaires if you do that. That's how you could, even before an election, extra outside the elections. Economic protest works because, if the billionaires are looking at, oh, all I wanted was some freaking tax cuts and now they're making me poor. Yeah, that works. That works. More than street protests work, making rich people poor again, that works. So yeah, if I tell you to do something, I mean it. It's pretty damn serious at this point. Wolf McBashes, this is why we have been circling the wagon. Stay strong, hold the line. Exactly. Kurt Aiken, I can't escape the feeling that we will need about 5 or more American career scaled up and distributed to reflect our nation's size. Tiananmen Square, yeah, I get it. Let me tell you where I think we are. We have to watch what happens with the judiciary. Not everything is burned to the ground because the Republicans decide they don't want to pass bills and they're just going to let this president do things everything by executive order. That sucks. But it's not the end of our country. That means that we fight it out in the courts. If our basic fundamental rights go away, yeah, that's it. That's when we have to break up into cells. That's when we have to end this experiment. If they take away your right to vote and make changes in the future, if they take away your constitution and the way our government functions, yes, that's it. That's it, folks. That's the red line. And I won't tell you to go do something that I'm not already doing myself. I won't. I'm not that guy. If you want somebody to be hyperbolic and tell you you gotta yada yada yada, all that stuff, I'm not your guy. What I am telling you is this: if they will shrug off all of this, they'll shrug off the rest of the Constitution. Arm yourself now. And I know there's a lot of people that are very much against guns, and I understand that. And I respect your feeling. I do. But I have to tell you something. If they do this, and it turns out they buck the judiciary, which right now they appear to be capitulating, appear to be. We will not know till this plays out over the next few days. We won't know. But if they end up getting rid of co-equal branches of government, what must come next is subduing and disarming you. Don't let that happen. This is when you arm yourself. If you have been considering arming yourself, do it now. Even if you're not prepared, even if you haven't taken the safety courses, get your weapon now. If you can. I understand there's some people that can't. I get that. None of this is universal. Okay? If you don't believe in it now, you don't believe in arming yourself, I understand, and I love you, and I will fight, and for you know, that's you, brother. That's you. That's okay. That's okay. Not everything I say here is universal and for everybody. But if you're planning on arming yourself, you do it now. And you need to have conversations with yourself, because the government, they did this for a reason. This was a game of chicken. And even if the judiciary wins, this game ain't over. You need to respond to it. Arm yourself now. And if you're not comfortable with firearms, you're not familiar with firearms, any of that, put the weapon away, secure it, don't load it until you take the courses, but get it now. Why? Because the next thing that happens after this is I disappear. That's not hyperbole. Because once they go down this road, people begin to resist. And as people begin to resist, they have to do things like stop dissenting voices. They have to disarm you. They do. They do. They have to have an unarmed, you know, they do. They just do. It's history. Past is prologue. They can't have somebody saying, no, this is not okay. You just took my family member. I'm not going to let that happen because I have no recourse in the courts because you've shut the courts down and you don't adhere to the courts. You don't respond to the court's orders. I have no options. That's when violence comes. Don't decide to arm yourself then. Arm yourself now. We are not going down that path. Let me reiterate that. Let me be clear. I am not calling for violence. I'm doing the exact opposite of that. I am telling you right now, they played this high stakes game of chicken, and right now they blinked. As of just about an hour and a half ago, they provided the judge with a written filing that says, no, we didn't do that. But if it turns out they lied and we end up going down this road, don't wait till then. And no, I am not telling you democracy went away. I'm not telling you, look at this. They blinked. We have special elections coming up April 1st. If you are MAGA, if you are a right-winger, do you really want the Constitution to go away? Because that's what this is. And I had somebody, and I want to warn you in advance what the talking points are. The right wingers, I've had to remove 2 people so far from my social media because they were trying to talk about the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 and did not understand how it applied. It's just Trump said, so it must be true. That's where they're going to come at you with this, is they're going to say, well, it's the law. Well, no, it's not the law, and it doesn't apply here. And the courts are going to tell them so. And I know a lot of people have that aren't familiar with this case and what it means. And, I'm going to leave it to, there are some good people out there. Legal AF is going to dig on, Midas Touch is going to dig way into this. You're going to get lawyers that are smarter than me that are going to give you the detailed minutia of each part of this. I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version. But there are people out there that don't really understand any of this that are like, well, the Supreme Court gave him immunity, so it's over. No, that was a different argument about a different thing. That is not what this is. And no, the Supreme Court does not look primed to say, it's all good. We don't matter. My worst fear is that the Supreme Court comes up with a ruling like this. They respond to Judge Boasberg and say, you were wrong. Not that you can't do what you did. You could do what you did, but you were wrong. So your order was invalid. So we're not going to penalize the government for violating your order. That is a worst case scenario. That kind of milquetoast ruling out of the Supreme Court is worst case scenario, because all it does is empower the administration, the regime, the Trump regime, to do horrible things in the future. And I can see this Supreme Court trying to split the baby like that, not wanting to offend their cult god, not wanting to punch Trump in the mouth, but they're going to have to. In this case, they're going to have to. Ideally, they issue like a 1-sentence ruling that says, this ruling stands, go through the motions, make your argument. In which case, the Trump administration will blink again. They will. They realize they did not expect this kind of pushback. They really thought that they were going to be able to just claim all the power they wanted and screw the Constitution. We're kings. That's it. They really thought that was going to happen. Their reaction today, even, coming from Levitt, their spokesperson, they are really trying to walk back and shove the shit back in the horse. That's it, Stoneflower Dragon. That's it. That's what we're watching. That's where we're at. That's what we're watching. Not only does the judiciary have to affirm this ruling and its rights as a co-equal branch, then we have to see how it's enforced. What do the law enforcement that fall under the executive branch, what do they do? This is what we're going to watch over the next few days. This is why I'm telling you, yes, our reality just changed. Doors that were closed are now open. Options that were closed are now open. But it doesn't mean we have to charge down that path. That is where we're at. And anybody that is on social media or television or anywhere that is telling you, oh, we need to get violent right now, and that's it, we got to go out, we got to burn shit down, and this was it, no, folks, that is not where we're at. Dr. King didn't carry a gun, just saying. Yeah, I know that, but Dr. King didn't live through this. Dr. King had the privilege of a judicial system where they actually had to produce Dr. King. Thank you for saying that. But you need to understand the clarity of this. I mean, that this situation, you need to have some clarity as to what this situation is. Dr. King could write you letters from the Birmingham jail. This, Dr. King just goes away and you never hear from him again. And the government doesn't have to show you what they did with him or why. That's where we're at. That is the difference in these two situations. That is why I'm telling you, different doors just opened. I am Mr. We're going to be okay. We haven't changed. We are who we are. We're going to fight through the system. Yes, they're going to try to do it by executive order. They're going to try to do what they did under Nixon. We've seen this before. We know we win in the end. It's going to be ugly. Yes, it's going to be bad policy. People are going to get hurt, and it's going to suck. But they'll pay for that at the voting booth. And when I said that, the caveat was there were two lines, two bright, glaring red lines. One is, do they adhere to the Constitution? And the other was, do we get to vote? If they cross either one of those lines, it's on. There's nothing left but to fight it out. And when I say fight, I mean literally fight. But we're not there yet. We are not there yet. They are backing down. As of today, they are backing down. They tried to play chicken with us, and they are right now apparently backing down. Andrew Ordonez, Tom Homan said he doesn't care what the judge. Yeah, I just played you the clip of that. Andrew, if you missed it. And I also told you that as of an hour and a half ago, the government has put in writing, as the ACLU has demanded, that they did not violate this judge's order. We will see if that is true or not, because the judge isn't going to just let this go at their word. Exactly. A new coalition. Great. We do not want to get to a civil war. Let's do everything we can to prevent that. Standing by isn't the way. I understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. The people that they kind of disgust me, I'll be honest with you. The people on social media that are out there saying, calling for other people to engage in violence just because they say so. People that are so cavalier with people's lives. I'm going to be honest with you. That kind of disgusts me. It does. You mean too much to me. I don't need or want martyrs. I don't. I need smart warriors. That's what I need. And sometimes, I mean, imagine, had people gone out and got violent this morning when this happened. And then we get the rule, we get the filings from this afternoon where the government backtracks and says, they were full of shit. That didn't really happen. So we're out there being violent over something that may not have actually happened. They could have just, and it looks like they just lied. Surprise, they would lie. So we can't be rash. We can't. What you can do right now, shut your damn wallet. Make rich people poor again. You quit buying shit. You quit buying shit from Amazon, and Jeff Bezos is back in his garage where he started. You can really do that right now. Anyways, folks, I just wanted to talk about this. I wanted to let you know that, hey, the government appears to have blinked, but we're not. We need to watch what happens with this. This is a huge deal. This is beyond important. This changes everything. This opens the door to violence. When you see countries that are occupied, there are cells, people that hide and act covertly. These are the conversations you need to be having in your mind right now. Not everybody can be out there and be a warrior. Somebody said, I guess I'm going to go hide in my attic. Well, that is an option, folks. Not for everybody, but there are some of us that will have to just go hide in their attic, if it continues down this road. And that's a truthful conversation you need to have. I'm telling people, if you're going to arm yourself now. But you know what? If you can't use that weapon against someone else, another human being, don't go arm yourself. Don't. Because then you're just carrying your murderer's weapon to them, is all you're doing. It's time to have those real conversations. Where do you see yourself if we go down this road? Because this administration, this regime, just played chicken with this fact. They just played chicken with destroying our Constitution. And I'll reiterate it again. Yeah, there are some parts of the Constitution, if we lost them, it would suck. It would be a loss of freedoms. It would. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of very smart people in here that could tell you about parts of the Constitution that would just really suck, but it wouldn't be the collapse of the country. What they just did is that. It is the collapse of the country. And amen. ACLU, thank you. And if you decide to donate to the ACLU, I'm going to give you some advice. Don't read about the cases that they represent, because they will set your freaking hair on fire. Some of the people that the ACL defends, it just leaves me like, why? Why? Why are you fighting that fight? But then here they are saving us as a nation. Well, very well said, Wolf McBashes. We will need medics and poets as well as warriors. So anyways, that's where we're at, folks. That's where we're at. We're still in the situation where, again, isn't that mind-blowing? That CR was only the second bill to come out of Congress. This Congress. Isn't that mind-blowing? And again, if this situation, your first thing is to attack Democrats, you're less than useless. You are. In this situation, you're less than useless. Sam, I am. What do you think about other countries striking the U.S.? We are very vulnerable right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not so much afraid of them striking us, because that would be unifying. Overnight, there would be no daylight between me and MAGA. We would be at war with an enemy. So that would be a huge mistake. What concerns me is China expanding its reach, attacking other people that aren't us, because we would not have a unified response. Hence Ukraine. 70% of the country thinks that we need to make sure that a war doesn't spread across Europe by helping defend Ukraine. And then you got 30% of the country that's like, do it, let them die. It's Russia. That's what worries me. I'm not so much worried about an attack directly on us. Now, what I do worry about is serious terrorist attacks. That I worry about. Because right now, if someone were to release a disease, that there was a lot of talk during COVID, oh, the Chinese hit us. No, they didn't. They took a look at COVID, and you could tell this was not believe me, biological weapons are horrible, people. Horrible. I cannot stress to you how bad these diseases are that they genetically manipulate, how effective they are. They are. They're just horrific in nature. There's a reason we don't use them. But right now, a terrorist organization with some basic lab skills, yeah, they could release some diseases in this country that would do a lot of damage, because we are weaker than we've ever been. Yeah. So, any concerns, any questions, anything I wasn't clear on? I want to be crystal clear on where we are, because this is so important. Any questions, let's get it out there. Let's do a roundtable. Let's talk about it. I don't want to take your whole day. We've been at this for almost an hour. This is their argument. This is MAGA coming into our chat to talk about this. The reported gangs were terrorists. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it wasn't Chet from Toledo. You can't. That's what due process is about. That's why we have the trials. Without the trials, the government doesn't have to prove shit. They'll just tell you. And old Frank here is more than willing to just, like, oh, yeah. No, there's no, not on their own. They cannot. No. This is one of my greatest fears. Metal Mark says I'm expecting Trump to involve martial law. This is what my biggest concern about protests, and why I've been very cautionary about telling people, that we have a huge community, folks. We have a huge community here. I have always been reticent, very hesitant about telling people, go protest out in the streets. I don't trash talk them. I don't shit on protests, because they're great motivators. They are. And it's good to get out there in your voice and listen. But man, I know this regime is different. They want those protests so that they can declare martial law. And anybody, you're going to have to be so vigilant about infiltrators that do damage and set fires. And it can't be like every other protest where somebody did that, we took a picture and ignored them. No, you're going to have to turn into the cops You're going to have to take these people down and hold them till the cops can get there so that we can prove who these people are and they're not us. I mean, it's a whole different day about protesting, folks. Austrian United. No, there really isn't. Other than a military coup, no, there wouldn't be. There really wouldn't be. And folks, it wouldn't be, let's be honest here. They may have opened the doors to armed resistance, but that won't happen overnight. It won't be, oh, we all go out and sew us up some uniforms and we're having a civil war. No, it won't be. It will be more like homegrown terrorism. That's what it'll be. And it will not happen immediately. It will take time. It takes people with their backs completely against the wall in desperation to do something like that. Exactly. It'll look more like vigilantism than anything. And a civil war is when that grows into a crescendo. Pamela Bradley, thank you for being here and supporting the show. I can't do it without you, and I'm very grateful. Pavolona 1, thank you for being here. New commenter, great to have you in the audience, sir. Great to have you in the community. When are we going to reveal the shadow government behind Trump? Trump does not have the brains for all of this. We have been talking about that for a long time. We've been talking about the Heritage Foundation. We've been talking about the billionaires, the broligarchs. When I talk about the broligarchs, that's what I'm talking about. The people behind him that are doing this. We talk about who they are all the time. This is why I love you people so much, because there's so many of us out there really understand how ugly this is and how bad this is and how, it will be like Northern Ireland in the 80s on steroids. Yes, that's exactly correct. That is exactly what it will look like. Mr. Martinez, thank you for being here and thank you for supporting the show. Without justice, there's because justice matters. I get what you're saying there. I do. I get what you're saying. 100%. And again, I want to reiterate that they did not think this through. They thought it was going to be red meat and bravado and it was going to make their base really happy. They did not think this through. I keep telling you, they're not bright people. They're not smart people. They're not effective people. No one was smart enough to realize, oh, shit, we're in the Constitution. People might not like that. They really thought it was just going to be Tom Homan out there running his fat-ass triple chin mouth. They really thought that was going to be it. This is true. This is true. I've had to get rid of people already today on some of my social media, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I've had to remove people already. CN says yesterday someone said it's impossible to argue with stupid because it's just going to bounce off. You can't reach a common ground. Yeah, because there are going to be people say that. Well, they were terrorists. They're drug dealers is what they are. They're drug dealers. Well, they're violent terrorists. Well, they're violence against other people because there's cash involved. They're fighting for territory. It's just old. It's just like prohibition. The 5 families in New York weren't terrorists. They were freaking criminals. They're organized criminals. That's all these people are. And we have a system to deal with them. Amen. I got to say, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to shock you that are just William G. Atheist here, hide your neighbors, just like the good Germans hid the Jews. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to absolutely surprise you at how much they comply. Doc Sign says, overcome evil with good. And that's what I'm talking about, folks. And again, I am not telling you not to protest. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can't just, hey, we're going to go protest today and not have a plan. Phones out the whole time. Record. Anybody does anything hinky or illegal or criminal or whatever, you have to record every single bit of it. You have to get in their face. You've got to pull their mask down and show their face. You've got to detain them for the police if you can. Because we cannot have these false flags like we had during BLM. They want to declare martial law. They want to turn the military loose. You have to be able to show not just the courts, you've got to be able to show the military. This ain't us. This is them. We didn't do this. Kay Allen, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Heritage and Federalists, old men and their documents who are on their second childhood, also Trumpy Dumpy. Look, we've talked about these broligarchs before, these old men, like Barside and Barside and all of these people, that donate this money and their delusional nonsense. Tim Dunn down here, Ferris Wilkes down here in Texas. They really think they're doing something, man. They really think they're fighting a cause for either for Jesus or they're saving the country from the liberals or some crazy. I mean, they are really freaking delusional. They live in their own damn bubble. What burst that bubble? Make them poor. Make them poor. You stop spending money with them. I am telling you, financial protests are the most effective because it hurts the right people. Yes, it hurts your neighbor because they're the ones that lose their job. But they lose their job because the broligarch that's really making all the decisions, that's holding on to all the strings of the puppet, because they're getting hurt. This freaking game that they're playing, I promise you folks, you end Tesla, you drive that stock price of Tesla down into the, just over 100 and have margin calls start happening and you end that company. Oh yeah. These broligarchs will lose their taste for politics really fast. Renee Larner, when is the next boycott? I tell you what I've been doing. I have been trying to add momentum to other people's movements. That's what I've been doing with our group, our organization, our community. Is instead of trying, I'm not vain. I don't have to be out there. It's not about me. It's about my attention. I'm more than happy to step up and say, hey, they're having a protest here than in the other. But a lot of people are saying, hey, when are we going to do another Friday? I'll call it the 31st of this month. Put the word out. 31st of March. No spend, no dollars, no nothing. Economic boycott, 31st of this month. I'll call it. I'll put it out on my social media later today. Y'all spread it out right now. Put it on your social media. 31st, another economic boycott. Do it again. Venus flytrap super. Yes, you have a lot of investors that are really trying to push Musk out as best they can. That is really happening. Sharon, ready? Yeah, that is really happening. I'm telling you, economic boycotts are the most powerful boycotts. If you can't be a fighter, even in the future going forward, if all the shit hits the fan and you are old and you can't get out there and you can't fight, yeah, you could still, I mean, when it gets drastic, cut out, eat one meal a day, spend nothing, buy nothing, turn your heaters and air conditioners off. It's going to sound silly, but you can do that right now. Everybody has that threshold they put on their thermostat. This temperature, and it kicks in. Make it a little cooler in your house. 1 degree a week. Climatize to 1 degree a week that you let it get cooler, because you'll use less energy. Or when the summertime comes, you like it that nice 72 degrees, make it 73 for a week. 2 if it takes you 2 weeks to climatize. Then the next week, make it 74. Use less and less energy, buy less and less products. I know it sounds small. It does. It sounds like it's not moving the world. It doesn't meet the fire of the people that are screaming, "You gotta do something now." But it makes a difference. It does. It makes a difference. Randy Oliver, it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog. Amen, brother. Amen. The people that come out that turn out to be the heroes in this situation are going to be the last ones you expected. Yeah, it does. Frugalism defeats neo-fascism and capitalism. Folks, who wants to be the power of a broke country? Who wants to be in power over a broke-ass country? No money to be made? Oh, well. No money Monday, March 31st. Let's do it, Kay Allen. Let's do it. Heidi, your money's no good. You need to stop that. Let me tell you something. I'm going to embarrass Heidi Gordon here. I am. I call her Superwoman. Somewhere in your state, you got somebody that's a lot like Heidi Gordon, but she's not as good as our Heidi Gordon. I promise you. This woman is amazing. You're talking about nonstop energy. She works behind the scenes. Where the rubber meets the road in politics, there's Heidi Gordon. She is incredible. Nothing short of incredible. She is. Be a Heidi Gordon. You want to aspire to something? Be a Heidi Gordon. Good God, we would change the world if more people could be like Heidi. She is incredible. She really is. It's me. It looks like Putin, the KGB, and FSB are winning. It really does look like that, doesn't it? It does. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it with this silver lining. Silver lining right now. And I know this is a terrible way to think. It really is, because I don't want anybody hurt. You don't want anybody hurt. Nobody wants anybody hurt. But pain is a great wake-up call. It really is. It really is. It is a great wake-up call. Carol, thank you for being here to support the show. It's a great clarifier. And I mean that. And that's why I tell you, economic protests, economic blackouts, no money Monday, no money on the 31st. Let's do it. No money. Spend no money. Because those oligarchs that are the reason this is happening, don't kid yourself. This isn't an ideological. This isn't ideological. It's not. It is bigoted, shitty oligarchs waging war on you. Make them poor. That pain that they feel, that'll really clarify how much they want that next tax cut. Janet May Cole, time to where's my heart, where my heart is. Thank you for being here to support the show. Peg, needs versus wants. Only needs at this point. Only support small local businesses. Bingo. That's why I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I came into this show feeling sick, just sick that this is really where we're at. Because I mean, I can see, again, I'm not hyperbolic. I'm not you've heard me. If you've heard me. I'm not the guy that's it's over, it's done, we're all done. It's that's never been me. And just seeing what's happening today and knowing that is one of the red lines that we can't cross. I mean, that really is it, folks. I was sick, but just spending time with you, it's just, I feel like it's going to be okay. I think we're, it just reminds me that I haven't changed. You haven't changed. We're going to, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say it's going to be pleasant, but it's going to be okay. Needs versus wants. Amen. See, this is the kind of thing. John Gomez, man, thank you, brother. Thank you for making this statement. These are the kinds of things that you can do. And you think it doesn't make a difference, but you know what? If 30 million of us did this, and all of a sudden Kroger's not bringing in the cash that they normally bring in, yeah, they'll know why. This is really, I mean, it's not sexy. It's not it doesn't make somebody feel as good as yelling on social media, I'm a badass and I'm going to just take the Civil War to them and this. And no, I know growing a good garden, becoming more self-reliant. I'm planting sage bushes, folks. Sage. I'm planting rosemary. It's hard to grow sage here in the zone I'm in. It don't like it very much. So I'm having to really be careful where I'm putting them around my house so that I can protect them. And, but I'm growing rosemary. I'm growing, just different things, just little things, just to become self-sufficient so I can just not buy a little something. If we all do a little bit, there's 330 million of us, man. Taylor Franklin, I've saved $2,000 since I've started No Spend 2025. Amen. Yes. Helen, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Bella, great question. I had somebody that was so stupid. They obviously weren't a follower of mine and part of our community. They was like, "Oh yeah, you're a hypocrite because you're on X and you have a blue check mark." And no, I am not on X. I am one of the large accounts that actually had the balls. I'm not one of these hypocrites that are like on Blue Sky. They're like, well, I just keep my X account just because I didn't want anybody to use my name. Bullshit. I closed my X account. Elon Musk makes no revenue off me, period. I do not there's no valid argument for staying on X. None whatsoever. Thank you for saying that, Bella. Oh, there was an article, Tim Perrigan. There was an article. I gave up eggs too. Great comment. There was actually an article that the price of eggs is actually now starting to come down a little bit. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they've overcome bird flu and they've reconstituted their flocks. And it's not the supply side that's been fixed. It's that so many people in the country gave up on eggs, don't buy them, that the supply is actually, the supply hasn't increased, but the demand has dropped. That's really happening. You telling me you can't see how an economic protest is effective? The price of eggs are coming down because of the drop in demand. I know it doesn't sound sexy, man, but if you can just give up one latte or something that you get at Starbucks or just little things, they make a huge difference. Alicia, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. I'm not even going to read this. You're going to have to read this yourself. That's an expensive hobby. So look, just to recap, that's where we're at. The government blinked. They have filed a written motion with Judge Jed Boasberg, that said, we didn't do what those people said we did. That was lying to their base. They were lying to their base. We didn't do that. The federal government hasn't done what they are saying we did. We're not in constitutional crisis territory. The ACLU said, not good enough. I need proof. I need proof. God bless the ACLU. That is where we're at. We are watching to see what comes out of this, because if it turns out they did defy this judge's order, then we have to see what the Supreme Court does. Yeah, we're not coloring any this year. We're gonna do the plastic eggs. And you know what? I want to say thank you to y'all. Were so kind. You sent the shopping bag. I talked about how I like to use reusable shopping bags. There's a couple that is in the audience. I won't call them out by name because they didn't give me permission to. They quilt. They sent me. Y'all send the nicest things. You really do. You really do. I'm just overwhelmed and shocked at the gifts, the coffee, the things that y'all send. They sent the most badass, beautiful quilted shopping bag that they made. And I mean, it's just freaking gorgeous. But yeah, we're that way. We have Easter eggs from 10 Easters ago. We didn't throw our little plastic eggs away. We put them in a bag and put them up in the attic, and then I will go dig them out and we'll reutilize those plastic eggs. That's just the way we are. Alto Eager. Long time member of our community. They are trying to push austerity politics. Fuck that. Let's do it ourselves. Join your local buy nothing groups. I did not know that buy nothing groups existed. Y'all need to let me know more about that. I will be glad to promote that. I didn't even know that existed. Thank you, Alto Eager. That's why I love spending time with you folks. God, I love spending time with you folks. That's good to know. And start putting lemon balm in my beer. This is a big deal right here. Buy local, yeah, that is a big deal. I'm telling you, I don't have it with me right here. I would show you. That was a beautiful shopping bag. I mean, it was beautiful. I don't have it to show you because I'm using it. I got it in the back of the car. We keep our shopping bags in the car so that we have them just in case we do a spur of the moment thing. Mackenzie Drake, thanks for supporting the show. Are there any questions as to where we're at in this constitutional situation? I mean, really, I just don't want anybody to walk away not knowing, not understanding, because this was a huge deal. This was really it. Thanks for the support. Thank you very much, Perfect Pup. New supporter. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, that is cool. That is really cool. I hadn't thought about that because you could take and you could blank about every year with some primer. After you got done, don't let the kids see that you painted their pretty egg. Oh, I got busted. I'm just going to tell you just something to make you smile. On the other side of this monitor that I'm looking at, y'all see me looking at, I'm looking at a monitor. Thank you that y'all bought a beautiful monitor. To sound like Trump, like an asshole. It's a beautiful monitor. It is, but it's a beautiful monitor. You notice that we don't pixelate as much, and I told you, I take the support y'all give and I put it back into the show. Well, I couldn't see all the pictures and stuff, and they were kind of old, so I took some of the drawings that my grandbaby made for me, and I took them and I kind of slid them in the trash can, I'll be damned if she didn't come over like 10 minutes later and walk in my office and look right in that. I mean, literally, it was like a laser beam came in the door, looked right in the trash can. And oh my God, the hurt look on her face. Oh my God, there was not enough ice cream and cookies in the world I could have given that girl. Oh, that was awful. That was awful. Pam Smith, love my garden. I got a greenhouse shed this year. Good, good. I love it. Love it. And I'm telling you, plant prices have gone through the roof. You've seen it. If you go to the garden centers and stuff, plant prices have just become astronomical. Man, I'm telling you, if you just invest in, even if you can't do a greenhouse, just if you buy and there's plenty of these online. If you go to YouTube, it's a great resource. It's a great resource. If you go online and look, there's plenty of small, little plastic greenhouses you can buy to start from seeds, and you can get for a package of seeds. It's just a couple bucks. You can get $100 worth of flowers out of that one packet. I mean, really, it's a great way to save some money. Dehydrate vegetables and make your own food items. Easier than you might think. E.g. ketchup, have fun. I'm telling you, folks, if we just tighten up our belt a little bit, and I'm not being a hypocrite. We're doing it here in this household. And I'm not saying don't shop. Nobody can not shop. That's not what I'm saying, folks. You know, I'm going to get some asshole. It happens to me all the time. I'll get some right-wing nutter that's out taking pictures and posting pictures. Oh, Texas Paul said don't shop. Well, here his fat ass is at Sam's Club. He's a hypocrite. No, I'm not saying don't shop. Jesus Christ, you got to eat. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Pathos One, huge support, my friend. I appreciate you being here, brother. Huge support. Thank you. Byron, no. This is something I'm glad you asked. I didn't know that I was going to need to explain this so much. I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't know this. Again, you know that CR bill everybody's so upset about? That is only the second bill to come out of Congress. None of this was done via legislation. None of it. The Republicans control Congress because we fucked up the last election. So the Republicans are the one that control committee assignments. They control what hearings we have. They control everything Congress does. That's the way our government works. They're in the majority in both houses. So because the Republicans have bent the knee to this administration, the legislature is not going to do anything. And they've been doing nothing, literally. So that's why the legislature and Congress haven't done anything. Now, on the other side of it, there are things that are being done, like this court case we're talking about with Jeb Boasberg, Judge Jeb Boasberg, that has led to this situation, that led to this life, is because people are doing things about it. That was the plan with the 2025 project, my friend. And again, Byron No right here. Great question. Great question. I'm glad we can clarify this. The 2025 project was a rehash of the Nixon administration. That's what these old broligarchs are. They remember the old Nixon administration, and they're spending their billions to try to rehash what they tried to do under Nixon, which was a bunch of stuff through executive orders to claim a unitary executive privilege. It's all a rehash. They lose in the long run, but it takes time. These things have to go through the courts. And that's why today we are in such a dire situation, because if the judiciary cedes its power, we're done as a country. If the judiciary lets them commit crimes, we're done. I mean, that's the whole ball game. Does that make sense to you, Brian? Did I clarify that, my friend? That's why we do the roundtable. Great question. Thank you for bringing that up, Brian. Gregory Deckelman, the amount of eggs I was buying cost me less than 90 days ago, $8, and now they were $28 yesterday. I know, it's crazy. It's insane. It's insane. Nice. Nice. I'm telling you, folks, Uncle Fatty here. I flipped at least 24 maggots using Texas Paul videos. Hey, man, that's what we're doing this for, is trying to make a difference, man. That's what our community does. We make a difference. And again, I'm sorry for this off day live. We do Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday so that we don't get tired of each other and don't, just don't overdo it. Don't want to wear out our welcome. I'm sorry about this extra one, but this was this was it. We were staring at the end of it all. I was so glad to see right before we came on that it broke, that they blinked. They blinked. They when they were playing chicken, they lost. It seems we will know. The proof is in the pudding, because Judge Boasberg isn't going to let this go. He's going to verify what they say. Yes, they are. Comparatively, they're very cheap. Yeah, oh my God. That was a bad day in Black Rock. That was a bad day in Black. I'm running out of grandbabies, folks. They're getting older. So this one has been super spoiled. She's my girl. That one hurt, man. I know the prices are insane this year. They are insane this year. $40, $50 for just, not bare root, but potted, 40 or $50 for I've seen them as high as $65 for a potted fruit tree. It's crazy. There's a reason the Indians loved them. There is. Squash and zucchini, great plant. Great plant. Now, tomatoes, you got to be smart about the way you grow tomatoes. Those things can get damn expensive fast. I love growing good tomatoes, but you got to be careful about what you do when you're growing those tomatoes. Yeah, the shelves are full here too. Nobody's, in my area, we would already be planting. Where I live, I know a lot of people are still in winter, but down here in Texas, and even in northern Texas where I am, everybody's planting. And yeah, the shelves are full. Nobody's buying. It's just gone too far. Amen. You know what I want to learn to do? I want to learn to keep and I'm tongue tied. Help me out here. Everybody gets tongue tied every once in a while. For making sourdough, the mother, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the mother yeast, the mother, to make sour bread, so that you don't have to keep buying yeast. Because I know during COVID, that was the hard one for us, is we couldn't get our hands on yeast. What am I trying to say, folks? I'm having one of those moments. My brain, the starter, but they call it something else. The sourdough starter, they call it the mother something or other. One of y'all know the sourdough starter. There you go. I love you, folks. Good question, and we're going to wrap up with this, Mental Mark. If they find out they lied and they do nothing, again, it's really, 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 really difficult to talk about and think about, because I don't want to think about my country that way. I don't. I don't want to think about, over some selfish bigotry and some stupid ass MAGA pieces of shit, that everything I loved is gone. But if they find out that they lied, that they filed a motion lying, claiming, because right now they're claiming, oh, the Tom Homan lied on Fox News. The White House lied with its press releases. We didn't really do that, Judge. If they find out that they lied, the judiciary will have to hurt this administration. They'll have to fine people. They'll have to jail people. And if they don't, it's the beginning of the end. And I don't even like to think about it, to be honest with you. I really don't. We are a nation that has more guns than people. This will not be pretty. You know, you get a lot of people that are so cavalier with people's lives that are like, we need to riot and burn, and this screams crazy things like that. And it's like, no, you don't really understand what that looks like. Not in a country like ours. 330 million people armed to the frickin' teeth. No one will have seen what this looks like, and we've seen some bad shit in our history. Mario Perron, is it Perron or Perrin, or help me out with the help me out with, I don't like to disrespect people and not pronounce their name correctly. And is it Mario or Mario? Do you do the hard R? Trump is, do you roll the R? Trump is the town idiot. Peter Thiels are the real dangerous ones. They are. The South African shit gibbons, Sachs, Thiel, and Musk, they're the real problems. They're the broligarchs waging war on you. Well, folks, at this point, we're just spending time together, and I have to be, it's an indulgence on my part because I love spending time with you, and I really do. But I don't have any much more to add. And it doesn't seem like that. Seems like y'all have it, so I don't want to waste any more of your time on a Monday afternoon. I am truly grateful for you being here. I will keep after this Tuesday. Wednesday. Tuesday, I'm taking tomorrow off. And oh, I want to apologize to somebody. A couple of people have made comments that they've tried to email me and I haven't gotten back to them. And folks, it's been several days since I've responded. I'm reading the emails. I really am, folks. I really am reading them. But it's been a couple of days since I've been responding. There's a couple regulars that I've given quick responses to. There's a lot going on here. There just is. So probably for the next, looking at my schedule, it'll probably be mid next week before I start answering emails again. And I probably will not go back and answer all the ones I've missed. So if you really need a confirmation of something that you sent me, send it to me again after Wednesday. And I do apologize for that. I really do read the emails. I really do respond to them myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Not today. Not today. As soon as I get off of here, I've got a crisis that's happened here at the house I got to go take care of, and that's what I'm going to be doing with my day. So I love you, folks. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.